You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Falling Skies After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Falling Skies After Show.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, dear viewer/listener. We are, yet again, Falling Skies.
Viewer/listener. Do we have one viewer/listener?
No, I'm talking directly to the audience member. I have a one-on-one relationship with my fans.
Just checking.
One-on-one. That is you, dear listener or watcher. Falling Skies, Season 4, Episode 3, Exodus. I am Phil Svitek, joined alongside Nando Velasquez.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Mocking my hosting already. And we have Roya Taheri.
See, I come in peace. I'm here. I'm peaceful.
This was to me a great episode. A lot of action.
Yeah, I'm loving this season.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's better about it than past seasons, or it's just building upon itself?
I think what's better about this, I mean, it was great having, this was your classic jailbreak type of episode. You know, it's a little cliche in a way, but it was really, really well done. I like where the stakes are. I like the fact that everyone is still split up, although with the beginning of this episode, we now see it looks like everyone's going to be coming together shortly, I believe.
Oh, we already got a few people together.
We got a few people, exactly. Yeah. So moves are being made.
Moves are being made.
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone's putting their money where their mouth is. Their mouth, yeah, that.
Yeah, that.
No, but I mean,
really
like everyone's doing
money, but
no, but everyone's saying that they'll do something. They're actually going out and doing it, not betraying everyone.
I think a lot of other shows would have drawn out the whole prison camp thing for possibly even like the season finale, like they finally get out of prison. But I like the fact that here we are 3 episodes in, and Pope and Tom and Weaver and that whole group and Hal have escaped.
Yeah. Which makes you wonder who is the big boss in this season. Is it going to be Lexi?
We've wondered that this whole time. We always get a new one. But before we get to, we'll save the meatiest part for last.
The meatiest part. So this will be the appetizer then.
Yeah. Let's start with speaking of reunions, an unfortunate reunion, but over at Matt's Hitler camp. By the way, I have to give a
Hitler camp.
No, I say that. But notice his hair. Notice
no, it's very,
team leader's haircut.
Yeah, it's kind of like Rolf from The Sound of Music.
Yeah, like does it not remind you of Nazi Germany? Like just their uniform, that haircut.
It really does. And I even noticed that the uniforms, the way they have the women dressed and the men dressed differently, it reminds me of the bathroom signs. You know, the women's have the little like outfit line and the men's have the suit. But the guy's cut of his hair, I even noticed it more in this episode with little shag right here on the side for the camera.
Which is just like the bathroom logo. Is that
yes,
what you're saying?
exactly. Yeah.
So we should put a bathroom logo next to a picture of this guy, team leader.
With the women. Use the women.
Use the women.
Yeah, I mean, I know you probably don't go into the women's bathroom that often, but
no, but
I've
seen the sign before. I've seen the sign before. They don't have the actual sign in the bathroom. I can see that sign.
As much philosophical debate we can have about a bathroom sign. Is Mira the Pope of this group? She screwed over Matt.
Yeah.
She screwed up, but it's not that she doesn't trust him.
She didn't listen. Whereas Pope did. Pope did, though.
Well, I guess in a way she's Pope in the sense that she is hoarding stuff. She took something that wasn't hers and she kept it. She hid it someplace else.
I mean, from a girl's point of view, she kind of answered Matt's question when he said, "Don't you want to get out of here?" Of course. When he said, "Did you take them? Don't you want to get out of here?" She was answering the second question, not his first question. Just saying, I'm going to throw that out there. So in a way,
but here's I'm going to applaud Matt rather than whatever.
Mira.
Well, I was never going to applaud her. rather than bash her. Only because here's Matt at this age, and already he's thinking so far in advance tactically. You know, hey, we're going to graduate with honors, and we're going to get out of here, and we're going to save everybody, and we're going to tell them about this crapshoot.
Well, you know, it's a great plan in theory, but there's always a chance that he could get broken. I mean, that's what Mira's worried about. Mira doesn't think she has the stamina, the endurance to be able to outlast, you know, the team leader and whoever else, whatever other indoctrination techniques they may use against them. She doesn't think she has the ability to do that. Matt, on the other hand, thinks he can take whatever they whip up at him, and that's probably why he decided to take the sacrifice and raise his hand and say he stole the wire cutters, because he's thinking he can take whatever they give at him.
Yeah, well, he is a Mason, so he can actually handle it too, most likely. And women come first for the Masons, apparently, too. But the thing is, I got to give Mira a credit, though. At least she knows that they were going to crack, that she was going to crack. At least she knows her weakness.
Yeah.
You got to give her some credit for that.
I think she knows
She wanted to get out, and maybe the only way out is just giving up.
She keeps doubting herself like that. Of course she's going to, you know.
She needs faith, and Matt is now her faith because he sacrificed himself.
Well, apart from anything kind of developing that storyline, we have a set of parents already there. But Cochise, he found him.
Yeah, Cochise
Speaking
found
of
him.
doing things, like it was a small portion, but he found him.
Yeah, son of Tom Mason.
So
Son of Tom Mason.
that was confirmation, yeah.
And then definitely Sheila finding her parents and ratting on them, and seeing the father give that whatever that was, seeing the father.
That's confirmation.
He gets confirmation from the father, and obviously the father was either brainwashed or just decided, I'm just going to go with it.
Are the guys more like Matt, and the females are more like Mira, where they're just like, I can't deal?
That's sad because it's true, I feel like. Or maybe women see the reality in it.
What's the reality?
What's the reality of it?
That this is how it should be.
Okay.
And they're standing up for themselves. Maybe we can take it that turn. Get a little sexist here.
Yeah,
Feminist.
you're the one. You're the
But
one.
what has it helped her?
Shit, I was trying to fight against you and I couldn't. I lost.
Okay.
But women are cracking early.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you,
don't
Steven.
want it to be, but it just is. It's happening.
I mean, look. I mean, Mira's cracking, but I don't think Sheila's mom was cracking. Sheila's mom was like, "How could you do this to us?"
But she wasn't going along with the husband.
She wasn't going along.
Maybe
with,
they're divorced, and that's why.
they're divorced. They're going through a divorce. That's what happened.
Yes.
I just think it's hard to tell what the husband's plan was, but I guess he felt it would be safer for him too. And
I'm curious about this adult camp because obviously there is one. How many people are in this adult camp thus far? And is the adult camp just what we left with
The
Tom
ghetto?
Mason? Yeah.
yeah, it's a good question. Or is the adult camp something more like Chinatown?
Yeah.
Well, not for the wife anymore.
Well, because one thing you guys, I was listening to the podcast since I wasn't here last week, and one thing you guys were talking about was, Lexi, don't want to jump around too much, but Lexi talking to that Svitek at the very end. But I felt like when Anne captured that skitter, and the skitter even said they were working with the hybrid, it makes me wonder exactly, how much of this is all associated with Chinatown. So maybe the adult camp could be Chinatown based on that.
Does it have to be called Chinatown? So speaking of that,
I'm just
I
saying,
know.
yeah, but that's where she's stationed at. Yeah.
I know. So let's talk about Chinatown and Lexi because I don't think there's anything more to talk about specifically in this episode with Matt.
With Matt, yeah. Other than the fact that he's in big trouble.
He is.
Do you think he's going to last? If Cochise doesn't get to him in time, do you think he would be able to handle whatever's thrown at him?
I'm going to save that for predictions because I have a prediction with that.
Cool.
Okay.
So
in terms of Lexi, I mean, it's Maggie's back.
Yeah, Tomb Raider style.
once the guns came out, I got really excited. I got to admit. Once I saw her guns, I was telling her, I thought it was pretty sexy. I'm sorry.
Fair. Hey, I'm not going to argue with you.
It's Sarah Carter. I'm not
going to argue with you.
I know you're on her fan club.
I am. The only thing that obviously she was wrong about was where, hey, she's going to lie. If she's in with the Ishveni, why would she tell the truth? And she seemed to be enough honest. Now, obviously, she's withholding tons of information.
Lexi, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
So obviously, we don't know what that information
But again,
is.
just to corroborate with Roya, I mean, look, another female going a little...
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
When we were talking about it earlier, I
Going
just
a
thought of Maggie. I'm like, Maggie.
Going a little unstable there with taking the guns out and threatening and everything, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe there is something there with it. Maybe your sexist feminist ways are correct here.
Yeah. It's going to sound... I really like her guns, and that sounds so weird saying that, but...
Here's what I've had.
You can too. It's
Her
okay.
guns are cool.
It's 2014. You're allowed to.
When they confront her, finally, she's giving this... Right, she's doing the lesson, and she's talking about the Trinity. I thought that was symbolic, and I actually... Yeah,
The triskeleton.
The triskeleton, yes. Mm-hmm. And I was really intrigued by that. Selfishly, I wanted more of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Only because that would lead to kind of more of what the heck is going on. So I felt perhaps Maggie and Ben should
Just waited.
just wait. You know, let's hear this out. Let's see what we can gather from this.
Yeah.
What do you,
Do you think it was necessary for Lexi to break Maggie's wrist?
Well, I thought that was
she
awesome.
did.
She didn't. She burned. It was probably burnt or something. I don't know if it was really broken, but whatever it was, it caused extreme pain.
Mm-hmm.
Or was Maggie just putting it on so then she could take out the gun again?
Well, how did she change her skin to purple?
Yeah, her skin was all like discolored and everything.
Are you calling Maggie a faker?
Well, that would be good for her.
No, I would think. Well, look, if somebody did that to you, and they weren't that strong, would you like go down like the way Maggie, like screaming in pain and wincing like that?
If it was part of my strategy.
All right. I'm just wondering if Lexi would have been able to. I mean, Lexi knew already that she had guns on her.
Yeah.
So I think Lexi could definitely feel if Maggie was going to be faking at that moment.
Does Lexi like smell gunpowder? Is that how she, or like the guns?
No,
and
there's a sense. She
Like
just
in Hannibal?
She understands humanity the same as she understands aliens. It's the triskeleton.
Well, she has. I mean, she said it later on in the episode, right before her big reunion. She can hear things that other people can't hear. She can see things that other people can't see. So she just seems to be very self-aware about everything going on there. I think we saw that even last week when Lourdes and Guitar were going at it. She's very emphatic. She seems to sense a lot of things, and let's face it, Maggie was not coming from a very stable place. I think she could automatically tell, even from Maggie's way of being, that something was up. And
because I mean, they were confrontational from the get-go. Again, you're in front of let's say a community of people, however many that is in Chinatown, and you just stop the ceremony, like, hey, we got to talk to her. Like, there's clearly some tension.
Yeah.
Lourdes is so annoying though.
I don't get. Here's what I don't get, because unfortunately I wasn't here last week to talk about this, but I don't get that Lourdes. She was somebody who had that parasite last season, right? And she was treated like crap toward the end. She was a traitor, pretty much. I mean, she was in a cage. She was feral at some point. I mean, and all of a sudden she's like so trustworthy. They make her this high priestess, and she has control over who gets to see Lexi, and she's like second in command all of a sudden.
To be fair, who's making these demands and controls?
Well, I guess Lexi's allowing it. So, Lexi's allowing Lourdes to be this way. But I just still think it's like ridiculous that so many people trust Lourdes and listen to her. I would be like walking all over this girl after the mistakes she's already made in the past seasons. So I find it kind of interesting.
Yeah, well, none of the villagers would know that, would they?
Well, I mean, ones that were with the Second Mass. I don't know if all those people in Chinatown are from.
Does news travel that fast? I feel like sometimes there's like, we're privileged enough as an audience to see high priority information, but like if you and if all of us were just kind of lowly second massers, we wouldn't really know this information.
I would think if they all came from the Second Mass, they would have heard about it somehow. So. But I guess Lexi has full faith in her, and also one thing I wanted to bring about last week too, that whole thing with Qatar and Lourdes, I thought was interesting, because it really was faith versus science going on there. Even though Lourdes was saying she was a doctor too, it really was faith. They were putting a lot of faith in Lexi over Qatar and the whole science of he's such a scientific person, wanting to analyze her blood and saying how she's dying and everything. But it wasn't as prevalent this week with Lourdes. But I really find it interesting how she's throwing.
But there's a fundamental problem with that faith, is because you don't even know the rules of that faith yet. You don't know, you know what I mean? Whereas like, let's say with Christianity, you have the Bible. You can study the Bible. You kind of get it. Whereas with this, it's like, okay, just believe,
Well,
don't
again,
fight. We're gonna be at peace.
Lexi seeing Nat Ashveti from last week, it's kind of like Jesus going to hang out with the devil and get orders from the devil in a way. It's like, who is this alien that she's talking to, and is it kind of like the rebel skitters from last season? Is this a rebel Ashveti, or is this part of the part of their plan with the big boss, whoever's pulling all the strings for the Ashveti? So, but again, like everyone's putting their faith in Lexi, and here comes Ben and Maggie confronting her in public, letting everybody know that Maggie's been meeting with the aliens and what's going on with that. And yes, they do have some kind of peace going on, and perhaps you would assume that there's a reason why the aliens haven't attacked, but I don't think anyone's really assumed that Maggie's in cahoots with them, talking to them. And we still don't know.
Maggie or Lourdes?
No, Maggie's talking to them. Not Lourdes, but Maggie's talking to them. And then we still don't know really, when she was talking to Ashveti saying she doesn't want her powers anymore. I know you guys were talking about that a little bit. Like, did she get her powers from that particular Ashveti, or what was that about? So I think she still has her powers, but she was asking, I guess she was just talking like, I'm tired of being this powerful and having this.
Well, let's talk about where she, because we get perhaps a glimpse into it when Anne goes finally unconscious, and we have that scene where
That was weird.
A reverse umbilical cord.
Yeah.
Weird.
It was like an umbilical cord attached to Karen's Ashveti.
Yeah.
And he was just smiling too.
That was creepy.
Just weird. I was like, what?
Was it just a dream or was it a vision?
Flashback?
I felt it was a flashback.
Yeah.
I felt like it definitely, it was a flashback, and it could have been a dream too. And it also would possibly answer like what was in that blood from last week that Qatar took out, because I kind of noticed something moving in that vial too. And I thought that was weird. So obviously it shows some alien blood maybe, and I'm guessing that's from him, from the Ashveti.
Have we seen the extent of Lexi's powers? Like, I mean, how is this the case of like Jean Grey in X3 where it just goes to
the Dark Phoenix?
Where she goes level 5 mutant.
I think she definitely seems to be. It's a good analogy, because she does seem to be somebody who she needs total control around her. That's why she seems to need Lourdes to govern who gets to see her and to control everything around her, because
I think it's
we
serenity.
saw her lose.
Not necessarily control, but serenity.
Well, having serenity, but definitely control in the sense of she needs to have everything a certain way, because she could lose her temper. I mean, that whole argument last week with Qatar and Lourdes, she started like totally. It seemed like she was very empathetic toward it and was feeling the hostility, and it was growing within her. And she showed that with Maggie.
The aliens.
What? Can she destroy them?
If her anger gets so big and she empathizes with the humans, rather than the Ashveti, can she just destroy everything?
Well, maybe
choose.
Maybe it's possible. I don't know. That could be a prediction there, sir.
Yeah, that's my prediction.
That could be a prediction. It's possible, but I don't think she has enough faith in herself to be able to do that right now.
Right now, but in time.
It's possible. But
that's why we needed the reunion, and as Anne said, like, I know who that is.
Yeah.
So no explanation necessary.
But again, it still seems to be now, because of that vision too, and what she said to the Ashveti last week. I'm not clear exactly how she got her powers. Do the aliens really have more control over her than we realize?
It could be one of those. It could be one of those things where, like, as long as she has free will, it's okay. So it's more of a debate of, does she have free will?
Yeah.
Or not?
Because that was the debate of last week's episode too. Is that's what they were going to do? This Ashveti, they're going to take away free will. Yeah. So does Lexi have her free will?
That's a good question. I mean, she's not harnessed or anything. She seems to have her own free will, but she even said that the aliens are a part of her. She said the Ashveti is a part of her. Whether she means because of, just the way she was consummated and whatever, was inside her mom, however it was, or whether she's harnessed in a way or attached in some kind of way to them.
But how many, there's tons of movies and TV shows where you just have to kill a part of, quote, you in order to be the best you. Now, is the Ishveni a good part of her? The powers, maybe.
I can totally see your Jean Grey comment now in X3. Oh, man.
I see this coming to fruition.
Well, I mean, the other question is, I mean, look, they treat some of the humans like they treat, you know, Tom's group and Weaver. Like, they put them in a ghetto camp, and then they put these other groups of adults, mostly, into a more peaceful setting. I mean, why couldn't they just...
Or so we assume. We don't know too much about Chinatown.
We don't know that enough about Chinatown.
And we don't even
as
know
to
how
why it's
far
so
west
different.
it is.
No, well, it seems to be far west enough that, you know, Anne had to trek there, but we'll have to see how far west that is.
Damn.
It's just like out of nowhere.
What do you think about this reunion? What do you... I mean, this is kind of more... You have to get more into predictions because it's right at the end, and that's what you're kind of left with.
Yeah.
But where does this leave us?
Well,
I think it's going to help Lexi to stay more for her human side, meeting with her mother and having Ben there too, her whole family.
Yeah, Ben's been really great in this. Because there's that... You could see the connection with the two of them. You know, brother, sister, blah, blah.
But is that the connection between... Because he's technically harnessed. So is it a connection with his alienness or is it his human side?
No, because he keeps referring to, you know, the family aspect and sister.
I don't think, yeah, I mean, they broke the harness from Ben. I don't think he's attached to them. I think, well, he could possibly
I mean,
be
for
a
her attachment
mouthpiece.
to him.
Well, I know, I get that. I don't know if, it's possible. Maybe they have something in common because they both, in a way, have...
They're both dying.
They're both part alien in that way, in some
But
way.
I think it's more so that he saved her.
Yeah.
First and foremost, and that was it, and where, you know, her childhood has been nothing but weird. It was a moment of like, wow.
Well, it's a true brother-sister connection. He's willing to protect her.
Yeah.
And I think she senses that, and she knows that, she realizes that the bond that she has with him is stronger than with Lourdes or anyone else in that camp.
Correct.
Lourdes has just got to take it down a notch, though. just a little bit.
Hey, she was everyone was
Unless
hugging her
she's in
at
love.
the end.
Yeah,
Well, everyone's happy
so
now that it's,
her relationship with Anne, she ran up to her and gave her a hug. That was like a normal Lourdes moment right there, back in the days when it was Dr. Glass. You know?
Yeah, exactly. When they were working together in the medical room.
Yeah.
You know, it was second
So
mass.
maybe Lourdes is really inside there. Normal Lourdes. Maybe.
Somewhere.
Probably a moment of just, you know, an instant reaction seeing somebody, you know, an old friend. That's what I would think. But I'm sure Lourdes is still going to be a pain in the butt. I'm still she's going to be a pain in the butt in the next couple of episodes. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know, but I don't think she can tell her Anne not to see her own daughter.
Yeah.
No, especially badass Anne right now. Badass soldier Anne, the way she is. I don't think she can really stop Anne from doing anything.
Question is, though, does Anne have more to her than we think? Because of that whole vision that we saw, the flashback.
More to her in what sense?
Yeah.
Like, alien-wise, did they do something more than just impregnate her with an alien, half-alien baby?
No, I think it's like E.T. where she just has a connection to her daughter.
Like E.T.
Like E.T. did with Elliot.
Okay.
But I don't think I ever saw a cord go from
But I don't
E.T.
think.
to
Yeah, I was
Elliot.
gonna say I don't know.
They
yeah.
shared some Reese's
At the most,
Pieces, but-
they just touched fingers together. That was the biggest. That was their umbilical cord. They just touched fingers.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, there's not a direct correlation from one to, you know, maybe they touched. No.
When they do on that bike ride, jeez.
Yeah. Oh no.
I'm just saying, I think, you know, I think that's their connection. That's her daughter, and what, you know, what she feels. They know each other.
Well, it's great to see them back. I mean, I remember the first week when I was here, you guys were saying how selfish Anne was for wanting to be with her kid. It was seemed like very, very selfish. But now that she's with her, we get to see how Anne's going to react to her. We saw a little bit in the clip that it seems like they're not going to have a great reunion.
Yeah.
but you know, obviously Anne is coming about things differently herself. Anne just killed that Skidder last week with malice while that
Denny.
what's her name was still kind of like, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. You know, Lexi senses something, and hears all these people coming in. Look, did you see their guns?
Yeah.
If we're trying to keep this peaceful, this is, that's something that hasn't been touched upon yet. I figured Lexi would have been right off the bat, like, guns down.
Well, again, I think it was a moment of, oh my goodness, that's my mom, and perhaps right afterwards, she goes, you cannot bring your guns in here.
Yeah.
You know, then we'll see that next week for sure. But it's going to be interesting because definitely, I mean, Lexi's grown up. She's 21. approximately, according to Qatar from last week. She looks like a 21-year-old, and
Despite how she may look, Nando.
she's only a year old.
Yeah.
Yes, and Anne hasn't seen her since she looked 6.
So in the state of California.
You're going there.
Can't do it.
You're going there.
Just saying, can't do
Okay.
it.
Well, you know what? If she ends up in a love scene with somebody else, we can talk about that then.
Fair enough.
This just got really weird. Weirder than that umbilical cord moment.
Weirder than the umbilical cord.
So on that note.
What is she, I can't think of anyone she'd hook up with anyway. All the other major characters are her family.
Yeah, this is
Dr. Qatar? No, that would be really creepy. He's like in his 40s and she looks 21.
She'll be 40 soon enough. Give her a month.
God,
she'll be his age.
No way.
I think it's the stress. Do we think it's just progression or is it stress? That's something we discussed episode 2.
That Lexi's growing older because of stress?
Or events in her life just cause her to...
I think it's the alien, gene in her.
You think it's a natural progression? You think like it's just a 1-to-1 ratio?
Well, I don't know, because I mean, Qatar. Look, we see her as growing up, and as someone who is in their 20s, like early 20s, they're still, human biology is they're still growing. Usually, I think the human. I think we grow until like we're about 30, and then technically we kind of stay same, and then we start to slowly deteriorate. I believe that's what it's supposed to be. So she's still growing, but Qatar's like, she's gonna die, So which is, I guess it's true. Her accelerated rate of aging, perhaps she's not gonna live as long as a normal human. But remains to be seen. I guess they still would have to test her since that didn't work last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. You guys want to talk about the best part for me, the Exodus?
You want to talk about what's your favorite Led Zeppelin album?
I can tell you which. So, by the way, that was a great joke. Which Zeppelin I hate? It's not that one.
It's not that one. It's Coda.
Yeah, Coda does suck.
Yeah.
Which one? I don't really know Zeppelin.
Then how can you say Coda was bad?
Because they said it was bad.
Oh, you trust everything they say.
You know what?
You have a lot more
trust in Tom.
You have a lot more trust in Tom has in Pope, apparently.
I have to.
Okay.
You should learn to trust me more, and I do trust Tom more.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. It worked out tonight, didn't it?
No, it worked out. It was an awesome plan, and I love seeing Tom getting into like the whole historical significance of his plan. That it was what Geronimo did against the Mexican army.
That was
Yeah, he had this whole history lesson about Geronimo. That's typical Professor Tom. Back in college, going over his American history and figuring out a plan that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, it just reminds I love when all parties have to come. Everything must be done as one, as they said in Matrix Reloaded. Everything, and to me,
the second week in a row you're quoting Matrix. And you realize that? Yeah, you mentioned it last week.
With what?
I can't remember, but I thought I heard it in the podcast. You mentioned Matrix.
Enough. It's all sci-fi. So I loved it. Obviously, Pope. Pope did well, except I like how Tom did call him out. Like, hey, you know what? You're the a-hole because all you ever want to do is split people apart.
Yeah, I mean, Tom.
Yeah, it's just
Sorry. Nando looked at me like, yeah.
Because week one, she was busy telling me. Remember week one, she was so determined that Tom was in some secret plan with Pope, I was like, Pope, they don't trust each other. And then when he said that line, I just looked at Roya during the show and said, "I told you so." Mm-hmm. So anyway, that was my fun part. But anyway,
they could now trust each other.
Well, they could. I mean, they've had their moments. They have had their moments where they seem to get along, but Pope ends up, being a jerk and start hoarding things or just going for his own self-interest.
Pope's good when really needed.
Yeah.
Like, if you need him to go to the store and get you booze, he's not going to do that.
Well, yeah, because that will help drinking all of it first. But it was a really interesting moment in this scene when Dingen got hurt that pipe fell on his hand and he broke
That was
his
so
hand.
brilliant. It just comes out of nowhere, boom.
Yeah, from a
whole
skid up top.
plan goes to crap
Everything
in the
has
first
to be
moment.
Everything has to be right in order for it to work. And then Weaver, of course, was going to take the suit, but because of his heart condition, they said there's no way he'd be able to survive the shock of going up there. And it was interesting to see Pope say, "No, you can't do it. I'll do it." He took not only he took a hit to protect Weaver. After they were like going at it last week when Weaver was following him even, which was really funny. It's just interesting, this little bromance that all of these guys have with Pope, and it's like a love-hate thing. But Pope, I thought it was a really interesting sacrifice that Pope was willing to do.
I thought Weaver was going to fight and put the suit on, and I thought he was going to sacrifice himself because him and Tom had that last. I thought it was going to be their last drink together.
Yeah.
And before the whole plan went down. So I was like, oh man, Weaver's gonna die.
Did you guys think Tom was gonna die at all?
Not this
I know
early.
that was kind of your.
I didn't think Tom was going to die.
Okay.
I don't think this is the kind of show that would shock us by making Tom
On the third
die.
episode.
That would have been a big shock.
This is not Game of Thrones. I don't think they're going to kill major characters like that.
I mean, to be fair, I knew that he wasn't going to die because the representative, as we'll call him, said, "Hey, get him to me alive."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I knew right then and there, Tom's safe, thank God.
Yeah.
That whole scene again made me cringe when you hear the voice, the guy that's doing the voice for the Fenny, like screaming.
Representative?
Yeah, the representative screaming in pain of being burned alive. That was just those scenes freak me out when they do that. Doing really well of freaking me out. Twice now in this episode. The burning and then the weird umbilical cord thing. It's freaky.
It was a great. I gotta admit. I mean, just the whole chase scene and everything. The way that whole thing played out with Tom, meeting up with that with the Shveddy leader and using the flame torch and then running away. I just,
Tom's part cat. He can land on his feet, not break a leg.
Yeah, I mean, but kudos to like the directing and the cinematography and special effects.
Yeah, talk about all things coming together. From a filmmaking perspective.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good chase scene.
And I thought how he had the sort of least part of it, but he did what he needed to do. He became
He
a
yelled
leader.
at that one guy. Only 15 men, like no more than 15 people every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they forgot the old couple.
I don't kind of understand why they had to pack up those.
Because they were coming in.
Yeah, but he was obviously able to kill them. It was like shooting fish in a barrel. Why don't they just keep going and kill as many skitters as are like plethora skitters?
Because you'd rather not. I mean, there's.
Well, I mean, I will say this: they've made it. Remember season 1 when skitters were really hard to kill?
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, like even that scene when Tom was starting to break away on the motorcycle and that one skitter got him, he just does an elbow to the back and the skitter falls.
Okay, you know how in a video game you level up?
Oh, so this is you level up to level 4. You're in level 4 from season 4.
Yeah.
But it was like a big deal when Pope was able to kill a skitter. That was like a huge deal. And now here it is, like Tom can elbow a skitter off his bike, and Hal can just grab a stick. And I mean, they know the weak point, so I'll give them that. They know the under the chin is the weak point for them.
Yeah.
But I still find it a little like all of a sudden they're a lot easier to kill in some way.
And then also little blocks would keep them away. The ones with the holes, the little cages.
Yeah, I know.
They can't just poke it open.
Those blocks were a little.
They come down ladders, but they can't. Oh no, a wall.
Yeah, like in a video game. Yeah, totally.
I'm telling you.
When they level up.
It's true. Yeah, I thought, but by far, I gotta say, Pope was the best.
Oh, it was awesome in that whole scene, and of course, him dropping the bag was really funny. Well, not funny, but
It was a fumble. It was a fumble.
a fumble.
I feel for him because, obviously there was the whole, is he going to do it? Is he just going to run, blah, blah. But then as soon as he makes the decision that he's going to do it and then does it, and the last, he's so unlucky, the last string is there holding this whole thing together, and then he has to fix it. And to be those 4 or 3 guys, however many it was, and just be like, quick, like, At that point, you guys are just assholes. Because the guys, you know what I mean? Like, you guys didn't believe him. He's still doing it. He's going to give it a try. It's not easy.
But I think that was all, I mean, it's really great the way they set that up, because it was all defining moments for Pope, because I think Pope is the kind of person that when the going gets tough, he decides to go for his own agenda. And, I mean, here he is making the sacrifice for Weaver, so that was really interesting. And then he's climbing, and even though there's a hornet, like, practically on his back, he's still trying to climb. He's holding on for dear life. Weaver manages to get, like, whatever that was, like a potato gun, and shoot it at the hornet and get rid of the hornet. And then Pope drops the bag. And even, like, Weaver even said, I was so close to shooting him. He just figured that Pope would just keep, running. And Pope went down, picked up the bag, ran back up. When the tether exploded, that one little strand still there. Another reason why Pope could just run up. And now he's free. He's on the other side of the wall. He could have ran on his own. But he stayed there and he grabbed. I thought that was something really big. He went there and he grabbed that debris, whatever that was. It looked like a hammer. It was a debris shaped like a hammer. And he knocked that thing out. That was really, really shows. There was all these moments where Pope could have ran off, and he didn't.
Yeah.
But I think, ironically, the more obstacles that came through his way, the more it became like a Pope versus this thing, rather than like, hey, I have to help out these people. It just became of like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I've decided to do this.
I have the worst luck.
And this just, like, now I will prove this thing wrong because I'm pissed at it.
Yeah.
It's not about helping them. It's F you. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it worked out both ways.
I think it helped the fact that when that flying skitter was around him and he saw that they shot it and it went through the wall, that they were helping him.
Yeah.
So maybe that kind of changed his tune a little bit.
Well, I think he seemed to be determined the whole time, but we just got to see him prove himself over and over again. We got to see all these obstacles, and again, like I said, it's Pope's nature to go for the easy way out or to save himself.
Yeah, it was kind of nice to see them all work as a team too, with Weaver actually helping Pope out.
Yeah, like I said, it's this love-hate relationship. They love to make fun of each other, like last week, or tease each other, but it seems like they stand for each other. Pigs fly. I love that line.
You know what relationship I actually really don't like, and it bothered me? The old couple. We were sitting there when Hal's like, oh, yeah, I got everybody. I'm like, nope, there's going to be one person that's going to be behind. Oh, and what do you know? It's old people.
That was kind of sad. You know what? I give the directors credit for having the old guy die, because I feel like, honestly,
to give that guilt for the wife. Don't rush me. They're going to leave without us.
I don't know. I feel like I feel like TNT sometimes doesn't take those risks, but I think it was interesting.
That was another woman and a man moment. Come on, honey, let's go. Don't rush me.
Yeah, it was another woman and man moment.
Oh, man.
Maybe there is something to be said for that. I don't know. Write us if there is something to be said about the women roles in this show. Because it seems like
so many feminists.
Well,
I'm the one pointing it out. So you guys are cool.
She's the one pointing it out, but she brings up a point. I mean, there are a lot of other TV shows where they don't, the feminists don't feel happy for the women roles, and maybe this is a little trend here based on what we've seen this episode.
I don't know why they were rushing. It's not like they were going to live any longer, anyways.
I mean, Tom leads the ghetto camp out, and Tom's a leader. Anne leads her troop across across the forest, the woods, and she's crazy, or she comes across as unstable. So there's something to be said there.
Okay, question. This is kind of getting more into prediction territory, but in terms of the camp, because we're all celebrating, it's all good.
Which camp? The Nazi camp or the Tokyo town,
Exodus,
Chinatown?
The Exodus camp. We've made it into the woods. Who knows where we are? Yeah. Yet we're celebrating. Like, how safe are we? You get what I'm saying? We've just escaped, but hey, Dijon... So racist.
But Weaver
he's
saw
escaped
something
multiple times, and he's been re-caught. So how safe can we really be? And is it the world's dumbest idea in the world to start celebrating?
You just call him Dijon mustard, basically.
Well, it's a good point, because Dijon keeps getting caught, and he's one guy. You think it would be easier for one person to hide, but now you've got a whole town. You've got a whole bunch full of people from this camp. They're all going as a group.
Yeah, and you burned alive the master guy, so he's going to be coming after you for sure.
Yeah, so
and under a bridge.
And, well, don't forget, Weaver saw something. We all saw that little weird thing, and it seems
But
like...
what was it?
Sound like a werewolf of some kind.
Yeah, they did kind of, right? Maybe it's another alien of some sort. Maybe, and I was going to possibly bring this up for predictions. It's quite possible. Maybe even though they worked their butts off to get out of that camp, maybe the aliens let them out.
You know, it'd be crazy if there's like
to follow them.
It's like a camp within a camp.
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say, because it's like
another level.
It's like the Mask of Zorro. You know, one circle leads to the next. So you know, as you progress to the outer circle, you progress just to a bigger circle.
Yeah,
That'd be so frustrating. If I were them, that's it. As a viewer, I'd want to see it.
So I mean, it's crazy to think.
Yeah. But, you know, I guess we'll get to see more about that as far as next one. But it seems like right now, based on the reunion between Lexi and her mom, and then we see Tom and his group escape the camp, so now they're out and about again. You know, it seems like they are quickly looking to unite the troops again.
So let's do a little bit of extended predictions. We're at episode 3, so we have just the right.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
You know, we're still in that territory where there's tons of we can base off things from what we see in the past because we have just the right amount, but there's plenty of speculation for the next couple episodes.
Okay.
When do you think everyone will sort of meet?
I think not this one, but the next one.
So
or at
5.
the end of this one, maybe they might like glint, like see each other, but I don't think they'll be together.
Based on what we kind of been hinted at, you know, toward the end, I feel like Tom and his gang have a dilemma right now out on the road. So I think that next week's episode will probably focus on that.
Just survival.
It's possible on surviving and getting from point A to wherever point B might be. But I think by the end of next week's episode, they might find Chinatown, and then we'll start with the following episode.
Well, I think for me, I think Tom and that group, they're going to go more to Matt because they have a direct connection because of Cochise. Versus Chinatown, that's really, you know, you really have to find who's going to go west.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Although I don't know how he can reach Cochise right now, but maybe Cochise seeing Matt, he might go back to...
well, he said, hey, if you get out, I'll be, you know... There was that connection, like, hey, if you guys get out, I'll be able to help you, but there's nothing I can do for you while you're in here.
That's true.
So
hopefully he knows. Maybe he has some way to track them and knows that.
Yeah.
I think next week we might see a little Maggie and Ben action at the end. I think this is going to be the episode where they actually kiss or have some kind of affection with each other.
Well, I think Matt is going to be indoctrinated. I think, you know, as thanks to his sacrifice to protect Mira, and the fact that he said they're going to make it unpleasant, I think they're going to break him. And so I think eventually he might get rescued, but the whole thing is he's going to be turned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see that happening. Definitely see that happening.
Yeah.
What was the big prediction you had, Nando?
Oh, yeah.
Well, the one I teased earlier, that was what I was thinking, that Matt was going to get turned. And that you know that
it's a little anticlimactic at this point.
Well, I'm just repeating myself, but I think that obviously Tom is going to reunite with Lexi and Anne. They're all going to go after Matt, but by this point, it's going to be too late. Matt's going to be turned, and they're going to have to deal with that. And whether Matt blows the whistle on them, probably while he's there, and you know, they're not going to be safe with Matt. That's for sure.
Now, obviously, there's tons of speculation of what's going to happen with Anne and Lexi. What do you guys see happening? Whether just immediately or in the next couple ones?
I think it's going to take a couple episodes for them to have a real mother-daughter relationship. I think they have to figure out, Lexi has to figure out for herself what side she wants to be, her human side or her alien side. And I think having her family around her is going to help her be on her human side.
Yeah, I think ultimately, the human side will probably win out just because the way that, you know, the way this thing is produced and set up with Steven Spielberg, I think her human side will definitely win out, but there'll be more of a struggle.
Well, I think for the whole season, I think that's going to be the test. And I don't think I think she's going to sacrifice herself for the human side.
I can definitely see that.
Anne's not going to be happy about that.
I don't think Anne's going to be happy about that at all.
I want to see her reaction when she sees Tom. If she's back to being, I love you, Tom, then I will be happy with Anne. But if she's more focused on her daughter still, I'm like, there's something wrong with Anne. There's something hooked with her. Just saying. I'm still a little fishy. I don't trust her 100% yet.
Fair enough. Tomorrow, not tomorrow. Next week looks like an action-packed episode, so I'm looking forward to that. I think it will kind of not necessarily be a filler episode, but you know, it's whereas we accomplished so many things tonight. We're gonna have to we're gonna set things up a little bit that will close out. You know, start closing out in episode 5, but episode 6. How many episodes usually? 10.
For this, I think it's either 8 or 10. I can't remember.
10.
The last few seasons have been 10.
It's been 10.
Okay,
10.
so then we're on episode 4. So we're gonna set things up for the mid-season kind of climax. So next week's gonna be adventurous, but we're not gonna close out a lot of things.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you think there's going to be an ultimate death out of one of the main characters this season?
Coaches.
Okay.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Hey, he's a main character to me, and I care deeply for him.
Yeah, no, I could see
For
that.
sure.
And he's like their symbol of hope in a way that the Volm would probably help out or come back.
Yeah.
So I could see him dying. Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to add? How about where we can find you?
We can add that. You can find me on Twitter at Nandovel, Nandovel.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at HeyRoya. That's HeyRoya. Phil?
And follow us here at AfterBuzz TV, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. And don't forget, if you're trying to survive an alien race invasion, pick up the Every Girl's Guide to Diet and Fitness. It has all your tips, and tricks to doing so. That is brought to you by Maria Menounos, our founder here at AfterBuzz TV. And we'll be back Sunday, hungover from our annual pool party.
I think you're going to say Hunger Games moment.
Yeah, we got a Hunger Games. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you here.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.